Have you ever wondered if you'd actually keep your brain inside your skull when the dead start auditioning for most persistent neighbor? It sounds like a gritty adventure. You, your squad, a pile of canned beans. But here's the twist. The apocalypse doesn't care about your main character energy. There's no rescue chopper with your name on it, no miracle cure rolling up the highway. It's you, your choices, and a world that smells like old pennies and rot. And a single dumb decision? That's the quickest way to get upgraded from protagonist to lunch. Quick shout out before we get tactical. You're the reason this channel lives to see another dawn. If you want more breakdowns on what not to do when the world ends, tap that button and ring the bell. Quietly though. Alright, gratitude logged, safety off. Let's set the rules. Now here's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with fast, relentless, Dawn of the Dead style undead. No explanation, no mercy. You start with minimal gear, maybe a backpack, a decent pair of boots, and a questionable granola bar. You're either solo or in a small group of 4 to 6. No plot armor. Every city and neighborhood is different, so yeah, variables exist. But the patterns of human stupidity? Tragically universal. You know that urge to go on the roof and scream, "We're alive! Over here!" Or to fire up a generator, blast your favorite playlist, and hope a friendly militia shows up with hot soup? That's how you curate a zombie fan club and send them your address. Noise travels like gossip in a small town. So does light in a night sky that's gone permanently blackout. I get it. You want a signal. You want to be found. But loud, persistent sound is a dinner bell for everything with teeth and a pulse, and everything with teeth and no pulse at all. It's not just the dead either. People come too. Some are desperate, some are opportunists. A lit window at 2 a.m. in a dead city is basically a flashing neon sign that says, "Resources inside." You're not announcing hope. You're announcing inventory. Here's what you do instead. Use low, intermittent signals, preferably passive ones like a cloth flag in a known rendezvous pattern or short-range radio bursts on a schedule. Use light discipline. Red filters, taped seams, blackout curtains. Save the generator for essential tasks and run it in short windows, muffled and covered, with a watch posted. You're a lighthouse, not a stadium. This feels logical, right? Doctors heal, cops protect. But here's the thing. The first places to get overwhelmed are the places everyone runs to. By day 2, hospitals are an infection blender. You've got jammed entrances, locked triage zones, backed up generators, and hallways filled with patients who stop being patients and start being problems. The smell alone will tell you everything you need to know. Police stations? Same deal. They're rally points for frightened civilians and last stands for outnumbered officers with dwindling ammo and fraying nerves. If the undead didn't fill the lobby, panic did. You'll find barricades designed to keep you out, not let you in. If you do get inside, you're inheriting a siege with no exit plan and a break room that's already been stripped down to instant coffee packets and one deeply cursed donut. If you absolutely must approach either, do it for surgical strikes, not residency. Think single entrance, fast exit, buddy teams, grab and go. Ambulance bays for meds after stacked risks are measured. Courts and municipal storage for overlooked supplies. But making these your base? That's not strategy. That's wishful thinking, cosplaying as courage. Big windows, good visibility, lots of space. Perfect base. Sure, if your survival plan includes starring in a fishbowl horror exhibit. Glass is honest. It tells the world, people here. Every flicker of light, every movement becomes a broadcast to the undead and the uninvited. Here's what most people don't realize. Glass doesn't just break, it sings, it screams. It rains down in a catastrophic cascade that alerts every ear in a 6-block radius. Barricading from the inside can also trap you when someone clever chains the outside doors or 1,000 arms press that plywood like a cruel hug. And the floor-to-ceiling windows you love. They let you see out, yes, but they let the other side see your food, your water, your fear. If you're forced into a building with glass, make it a staging area, not a home. Establish a rear escape route, create false silhouettes and decoys to misdirect attention, and never sleep near line of sight. Better yet, shift vertically, upper floors, stairwells blocked, escape ladders prepped. A fortress isn't what looks strong. It's what doesn't look like anything at all. Chainsaws. They look badass until you realize you just strapped a screaming, gas-drinking attention machine to your arms. The first time it bites and kicks, you'll slip on blood, stall the engine, and learn what fatal latency feels like. Fire axes are heavy and get stuck. Katanas are great until your form fails and you chip the blade on a femur. Or you realize sword maintenance is an art you never learned from anime. Let's be real for a minute. You're not auditioning for a movie. You want tools that don't break, don't jam, don't run on fumes, and don't demand perfection under adrenaline. A crowbar doesn't look sexy, but it opens doors and skulls and doesn't wake up the neighborhood. A machete is cheap, forgiving, and easy to sharpen. A sturdy spear gives you reach, which is code for they can't bite what they can't touch. Firearms? Use them like fireworks. Rarely, deliberately, with a plan for the stampede that follows. Practice head discipline. Count rounds. Choose reliability over range. And whatever you pick, train when you're tired, cold, and shaking, because that's when it matters. On paper, it sounds efficient. In practice, it's how you get eulogies. You're betting on perfect timing, perfect comms, and a world that isn't actively trying to break your coordination. Batteries die, signals drop, maps lie, people panic. A simple scavenging run becomes a timetable of missed check-ins and noises in the dark that might be your friends or might be the reason you'll need new friends. The problem is that fear expands distance. Once people feel alone, decisions get weird. The confident kid pushes deeper because he doesn't want to look scared. The cautious one freezes and waits too long. The leader tries to rescue everyone at once and exposes the anchor group. Suddenly, you're throwing good people after bad and turning one mistake into a chain. Stay together unless you have redundancies. Clear rendezvous points, pre-agreed abort times, layered comms, and a hard rule. If one team breaks contact, everyone returns to base. 2 is 1, 1 is none. Think less, cover more ground, more come home with more people than you left with. This is where it gets ugly. You love them. You don't want to let go. You start negotiating with reality. Maybe it was a scratch. Maybe they're immune. Maybe you'll find antibiotics that fix an incurable curse. Denial is the most human mistake, and the dead love it. Here's what most people won't say. The risk isn't just the moment they turn, it's the slow, grinding dread that shreds morale. Sleep gets thin. Watches get sloppy. Everyone starts pretending they didn't notice the fever because acknowledging it means making a decision that will stain your conscience forever. All the while, time is doing what it does, running out. Have a protocol before it happens. Isolation room with a lock on the outside. Time windows based on observed turn rates. 12 to 24 hours means constant checks. One person at a time. No children alone with the sick. If you don't have containment, you don't keep the bitten. If that sounds cold, remember this. Mercy. For one can be a death sentence for 5. Love people while they're still people. And if the worst happens, do what's necessary quickly and with dignity. That's leadership. And it's the kind that keeps the living alive. The plan. Toss everyone in the car, floor it toward the next city. Live your best post-apocalyptic road trip. The reality. Gridlock made of metal coffins, out-of-gas trucks, and 1,000 honking alarms that never stop because no one is around to turn them off. Highways are rails, not roads. Once you're on, you're predictable. The dead don't need to sprint if you can't move faster than a walk. Road travel isn't bad by itself. It's bad when it's your only plan. Where are you getting fuel when stations are dry and the pumps need power? Where are you going when everyone else had the same idea and the place you're headed is already stripped clean? The car feels safe until it doesn't, until a horde presses in and all you can do is listen to breath fog the windshield. If you must roll, scout first. Use side streets, alleys, and routes with multiple bailouts. Keep fuel in approved cans, not sloshing milk jugs. Stash bikes for when the engine becomes a trap. And never, ever get so attached to a vehicle that you ignore the obvious. If the road is a funnel, walk away now, not later. We've all seen the fantasy. Food courts, hardware stores, bedding aisles big enough to bury yourself in comforters. It's zombie Disneyland. It's also a logistical nightmare. Malls are cavernous, full of blind corners, maintenance tunnels, loading bays, and skylights that turn you into a silhouette snack at sunrise. If any place has a high, previously looted by every other moron score, it's this one. Even if you clear a section, air controls and ductwork make containment a joke. You're defending too much space with too few people. You need eyes on every level, every conduit, every entrance. One forgotten door becomes a throat. One missed grate becomes a birth canal for nightmares. And humans? They see a mall and think, kingdom. That means power struggles, turf, raiders, and the kind of politics you hoped would die with the old world. If you must use a big box space, treat it like a library after hours. Quiet, quick, in and out. Consider small stores with single entrances, preferably connected to service corridors that give you escape. Or better yet, look for boring, invisible locations. Utility buildings, light industrial spaces, upper floors of places no one romanticized. The best base is the one no one else can be bothered to notice. Fire is comfort. Fire is control. Fire is also visible from way too far away, and smoke is a tracer line to your door. Add the scent of cooking meat drifting over empty streets and congratulations. You've created a night market for carnivores, undead or otherwise. Generators are worse. They hum like angry bees and carry through walls. Keep them inside and you risk carbon monoxide. Keep them outside and you're advertising. Either way, you just turned quiet hours into an acoustic target, and don't get me started on celebratory bonfires or victory parties. The apocalypse doesn't care that you got through one hard day. It wants to see if you'll make it through the next one, sleepy and sloppy. Do your hot work in daylight, undercover, and with someone on a long, silent watch. Use rocket stoves or enclosed cookers that cut smoke. Cache cold rations for nighttime. If you must run a generator, build a hush box with proper venting and baffles. Mask the sound with environmental noise if you have it, near running water, under wind. Survival is about signals, and your goal is simple. This is the dumbest mistake because it ends everything at once. Zombies are predictable. People aren't. You crack your door for the sob story, a limping stranger with no backpack and perfect timing, or the too smooth talker who just wants to trade. You skip the vetting because you're tired of being hard. You make one exception because they seem nice. Then the nice person maps your exits with their eyes and counts the heads and waits until 2 a.m. to let the rest of their crew in. It won't always be violent. Sometimes it's entropy. One careless smoker, one thief who nicks a can of fuel and leaves you stranded, one liar who swears they're not sick and coughs into the shared water pot. But often it is violent, and it's the worst kind. Fast, inside, with confusion on your team and a plan on theirs. You won't lose because you weren't brave. You'll lose because you were polite. Set protocols and stick to them. External negotiations only. No entry without quarantine. No weapons inside common areas. Exchange happens at a gate with 2 barriers and a kill zone you pray you'll never use. No one new sees your sleeping quarters or your storage. Rotate negotiators so no one becomes a single point of failure. Paranoia isn't cruelty, it's love. Love for the people already counting on you to make the right call. Dishonorable mentions. You shouldn't try either, but you will. Thinking a boat solves everything when you've never held a tiller and don't know tides. Drinking untreated river water because it looks clean. And learning the apocalypse has a second act. Dysentery. Wearing noisy gear like you're a walking wind chime. Painting safe on your door like it's a magical ward. And my personal favorite, declaring it's quiet now and taking the night off from watches. That's not optimism. That's an invitation. So by now you understand that survival isn't about cinematic hero moves. It's about 1,000 boring, disciplined choices you repeat until they become muscle memory. It's about denying yourself the easy comfort of light and noise, the warm lie of they'll probably be okay, the bad habit of thinking movement equals progress. When the world is feral, intelligence is a quiet thing. It's the hand that checks the latch twice. It's the whisper instead of the shout. It's the plan that expects failure and survives anyway. I know what you're thinking. Surely there's room for a little hope. There is. Real hope isn't loud. It's not a flare shot into the night or a generator belting out power ballads. Real hope is the dawn, and you only get to see it if you don't do stupid things in the dark. So take this list seriously. Be the boring survivor with the curtains taped and the water boiled and the protocols laminated in your head. In a world that punishes mistakes, boring is beautiful. If you've got your own dumbest decisions you've seen in movies, games, or hopefully not real life, I want to hear them. Which one do you think would take out most people first? Broadcasting their location or letting the wrong stranger inside? Drop your take, argue with me in the comments, and if you want more deep dives into how not to get eaten by narrative devices, you know what to do. Stay smart, stay quiet, and if it feels like a trap, it probably is.